Hey everybody, welcome. So for everyone from Chirp, you are coming here to check out the test drive of Buffer. And as you know, you've been reading throughout the book that Buffer is one of my favorite tools out there, especially towards Twitter. It's single-handedly changed my life and how I both use social media, but predominantly with Twitter. My Twitter activity, my quality of contacts, and my overall growth has just skyrocketed through the roof because of using Buffer. So let's jump into it. You've heard enough about me bragging about it. I'm sure you might get a little sick of it, maybe not. Either way, let's get into the meat of everything of why you came to the video. So first things first, as far as the test drive goes, we need to log into Buffer. So go up to your URL and sign into buffer.com or bufferapp.com, and it will take you to the sign up screen if you're not already a user. Go through the process. It's really easy. And then you're going to get to a screen like this, and it's going to be your home screen. And there are going to be a few things here, and I'm not going to really show you how to set it up. I'm going to show you how to use it and certain tools and what you can use. So first and foremost, there's a free version that we've talked about, and the free version allows you to do contacts, you get some analytics, you get a schedule you can set up, you get 3 accounts, social media accounts, so you can use Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you have other Twitter accounts, you can also use it in here as well. If you want to go beyond that, you have to upgrade, and I believe the upgrade version, yes, is either $10 a month or 102 for the year. I know I will be upgrading here shortly, but I wanted to show you the free version first and foremost. So as you can see here, the first thing here is that with Buffer, because it's such a phenomenal tool, it pulls in all these suggestions as far as content goes. So to find that, you have to be in the content tab, and you go down to suggestions, and you'll see that they have all these different topics. And so you can go in here, and right now they're developing. It's going beyond just these topics, but these are curated from a number of different sources online. They're always looking for new places, so they submit it, and if you have suggestions, you could send them suggestions as well, even with topics. But you see that they keep it fairly simple. It's mainly Buffer picks, marketing, inspiration, business and startups, life hacking, and design. The cool thing here is that they do this for you. What you also can do is you can go into feeds, and you can set up feeds if you upgrade the plan. And so that basically means you can find all your journals or blogs or wherever you're pulling your content from. If you're in a different industry like psychology or something along those lines, you're not necessarily going to find a lot of content in here that pertains to you or your audience. But if you're dealing with business people, you'll find a lot of that information in there. And then you can just pull it into your RSS feeds here if you decide to upgrade. If not, you can get around it. And ways you can get around it is, for example, let's say we go to one of my new favorite websites is Small Business Trends. So if we go here and we wait for it to upload, and we look through, and oh yeah, it's free. We can still get a free website traffic. Here's how to maximize your Facebook reach without paying for it. Women-run businesses, making more money. So let's go into this one, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna read. We're gonna read it, and if we like it, the cool thing here is that you can get a plugin for your browser, and it's going to be right up here on the right, and you're going to go to push Buffer. I'll show you how to get this in a second. And you see what it does is that it pulls in the headline for you. It pulls in the link. It actually even generates the picture if you're posting to Facebook or LinkedIn. This isn't necessarily has a picture associated for Twitter. So what we would do is say, all right, great. And we're a couple different options. You can either go to add to queue, or you can share it next, share it now, or schedule the post. We'll get into that, but scheduling the post basically means you can edit it, you can share it right now, or you can put it next in your queue. or you can just add an end to the queue. That means if you have 6 different things and you have 4 posts that go out per day, then it'll be added to the bottom and it'll go out in 2 days from now. So that's how you can get around without having to plug in RSS feed. If you're just reading, you can get the plugin up here in the user browser section and add it in there, and just every time you read something you want to buffer it, you push the buffer button right there and it'll take you to this. It's pretty cool. So let's get back to this. We're going to go into the suggestions. So if you find something here, you're going through it, you like it, so let's say big thinkers only on the only things worth worrying about, we hit add, if I could read, and then it will be added to the queue. So as I said, depending on how you schedule everything, you will see that some of these posts will be pushed down. So if I went ahead and buffered this one and I add it to the queue, which I'm going to do, then I come back here, I refresh my screen, and we will see at the bottom that you can still get free website traffic. Here's how. So I've added to my queue. Now I have this scheduled out. So what this does is that now I have essentially 8 posts that will go out, and I don't have to do anything. I have them set for certain times of the day. I have the headlines. If I want to go in here and make edits, I can push the edit button right down there. So let me just show you a few things about these posts is that you can change them. So if you want to drop this one down, throw this one up. If you want to move it to the top and it's all the way at the bottom, you can do that. If you want to share it right now, you have the option as well. You push this edit button. I do recommend making some edits to the post. Reason being is that these people can start to get an idea that you're using something else, so it's just very plain and simple. If you have some time, you should be reading these, and then you should go into them and add something like fantastic article, or it could be even, you need to read this. Make some type of action, add a personal message to it. You can even completely change the headline if you want to. And what this normally will do is it will help to get more interactions. People will like it more, they'll favorite it, might even get some retweets. And then as soon as you make those updates, you just save it and it will show up there. Another thing too is that beyond just pulling in content from other sources directly on the page like we did with the Small Business Trends article, if you have a blog post yourself, you just need to copy and paste it here. You would just copy, you would click on the post. For instance, we're at my website. We click on to this specific post. We copy the URL. We go back into Buffer. We throw it in there, and it generates the link already. We add a headline, and we can add it to the queue. The other option is, again, just because it's your website, you can still buffer it with that little icon on the top, and it would automatically pull it up so you can see. You can edit this real quickly. You can choose which outlet you want to break it up to, and then you can add it to your queue. So there you go. Lots of different ways to post on there. The one thing I really like about it is I like to throw in my original content into this too, but it's really more so pulling out this curated content. They have phenomenal articles. It's actually one of the places I get a lot of my own reading materials from. I go in here, and when I schedule every couple days or so, I go in here and I just find some articles that look interesting, that pertain to my audience, that I click on, I read it, I like it, and I share it. Another thing that also helps with engagement is that if you read the article, and when you read the article, because you will read the article, is that you will find the person who wrote it and add their Twitter name to the end of it. If it's at Gary Vaynerchuk or at Brandon Lewin, you add it at the end of here, and they will get notified. And they probably will find out that you're posting about them anyway, but they will get notified, especially if you put their handle in there, and that will spark interaction and engagement, and it's a great tool to use. So use that. As far as the queue goes, so we talked about you can change. There's a lot of options here. One thing about the queue as well is that you can actually only have, as the free account, you can only have 10 queues in there. So if you're posting 4 times a day and you do the math, you really can only post for 2.5 days with 10 pieces of content in there. So speaking of scheduling, let's jump into that. If we jump over to the bar across to scheduling, what you see is that Buffer allows you to schedule, and you can pick and choose the days that you are going to be scheduling, as you can see, every day, or you can do just Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can take off Sunday, you can leave Sunday on. It's up to you. You can change the times and add as many as you want in here. I do recommend that you only keep it to about 4 or 5 per day as far as these go out. As we talk about in the book, it's phenomenal to post more. You should be posting more, but you don't want to just be posting links. You want to be interacting. So interacting, as we know, is an actual post, and so you don't want to overdo it with your Twitter feeds to your followers or your community by putting in 6 different link stories in here, and then interacting with and creating 10 different posts. That's gonna kind of overdo it for some people. So you have to be strategic in how you do it. I say 4 or 5 is good. If you want to do 2 or 3, that's perfectly fine. Do what works for you. You're gonna have to test it out. You see how it works. Know your audience, when to schedule it. That's gonna be also an important part of this as well. You also might want to schedule it around if you know you're going to be doing a lot of chats on certain days, if you have that scheduled, if you know there are going to be certain campaigns going on. You have to keep all these future scenarios in mind to really help you to actually schedule it. And you can change it too, so you can jump there as much as you want, and you can put your time zone in there as well. Analytics is another part of this. I don't really use the analytics from Buffer too much, because the analytics both from some of these other tools and on Twitter itself are more useful, at least in my mind. So that's something to keep in mind. They do have insights, but again, that's for the business purposes. A few other settings here. So when you go in here, you can go to the link shortening. This one's important to know. And when we get into the next chapter after this one, into measurements, we talk a little bit more about how to track everything to know what's working, what's not. So this link shortening is going to be something you need to keep in mind. Until you get to the next chapter, you won't really know what we're talking about unless you already know analytics. But you want to make sure that you are getting campaign tracking. So what you'll see is that if you are getting that, you will see this show up, Buffer, as a campaign in your Google Analytics. Again, we'll talk about that more later on. So just know there's link shortening in here, and you'll want to be able to change it. If you have a Bitly account, you want to connect that to here so it can create it for you. That's really powerful. You can add team members in here. Again, if you sign up as a business, you can add this and add multiple team members. You can coordinate on the postings if you have multiple people working in your organization to set that up. Contributions. So again, this is for team members, and you need certain permissions, but that's also for the upgraded version. As you can see, there's apps for it on your phone, so both for iPhones, iOS, and also for Google phones on Google Play. Go on there, make sure you get that, and check them out. If you have questions, get support. FAQ. Buffer is a phenomenal tool. You need to use it. At the very least, use it for the scheduling, for the content. As you can see, there's a lot of information here. If you have any questions, check them out, ask them. They're very responsive. They're phenomenal. You can always reach out to me too. I like to think of myself as more of an advanced Buffer user. So there you go, Buffer for Twitter. Use it.